work communicating with administrations and doing a lot of, honestly, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of stuff without my exec board, so I definitely depend a lot on them. So very grateful to have the exec board I have today, and very grateful to run a great community that works very hard to get the stuff that they want done. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Frank. Thanks for coming. We have a certificate for you. And a little gift. So Skylar, hopefully you've communicated with Skylar already, but he should be giving that to you soon. Feel free to stay on the meeting. It's an open Senate meeting to anyone, so you can stay on or you could hop off. It's totally up to you, but we will get those two things out to you, and just congratulations.
Thank you again.
Okay. All right, next up, I see Kenna Williams not on my screen anymore. I don't know what's going on with that, but we'd like to welcome Kenna Williams as our guest speaker tonight. She is the Chief Belonging Officer here, and hopefully she's going to be able to tell us a little bit about her role, what the Office of Belonging does for our campus on the everyday, and just give us hopefully some tips on how we can we love Kenna Williams, yes we do, and how we can become a more belonging community within Senate. So, so I'd like to welcome Kenna, if you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kenna Williams. I serve as Chief Belonging Officer and Title IX Coordinator at Albion College. I'm excited to be with you all tonight to share a little bit about the Office of Belonging. It is a new office, and it is really centered around how do we create a culture and environment where all of our students, faculty, and staff feel like they belong at Albion, but also feels as though Albion belongs to them. We chose those words very carefully, recognizing that when people feel like they belong, they have an opportunity to be more engaged and be more focused on the reason why they are here. And for you all, that is to get a wonderful Albion College education. It's late, so my words are a little bit slurred. I'm a little bit tired. I took a nap, but I got up for y'all. Don't shake your head at me, Dean, right? You know what it is. I need my sleep. So a lot of the work that I do is really around institutional level change and policy and procedure, and trying to figure out how do we build coalitions and gain momentum around the work that we've been doing for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and ultimately belonging. I think we've all seen our campus change quite a bit, even since, if I have seniors on the call, even since you all were first year students. And so continuing to create environments where all of our students can thrive, what that looks like inside of the classroom, but also outside of the classroom, what that looks like for our academic departments, but also our staff units as well. And so that has been the work that we've been focused on. We also launched, if you have not seen, we launched a new bias reporting tool on campus, a new way to report bias incidents. And that charge was really about two things. One, how do we create a more seamless way for students, seamless and transparent way for students, faculty, and staff to report incidents of bias on campus. There's a team that will respond to those incidents or reports as they come in. But the second thing that allows us to do is to better track what we're witnessing on our campus to help us focus efforts on where we need to provide education for our campus as a whole. And so it gives us an opportunity to support our faculty, staff, and students, but also to learn where we need to be working harder and what we need to do better. In the coming days, we will be launching a campus climate survey. And the goal of that survey is really to get a better feel for how students are feeling on our campus around diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Our president has talked a lot about us becoming an anti-racist, anti-ism institution. And that language is new for us to talk about that. And so we want to make sure that we have a good pulse of where we are as a community as we do that work and begin to move forward. The last thing I'll talk about, today, March 1st, blueprint for belonging drafts were due for our faculty and staff units across campus. And the blueprint for belonging is an opportunity for each and every unit, from the board of trustees to the president's cabinet, down to every other academic department and staff unit on campus, to really think about and focus on what their role is in contributing to belonging on our campus. And so looking at that work from a number of different spaces, from the intra and interpersonal level, but also the systemic and institutional level. And so I really believe that it will provide us with some targeted efforts that everyone can take some ownership in, because we recognize that this work is not just the work of one person or one office, but it is all of our jobs to make sure that we create a culture where students, faculty, and staff feel like they belong. So those are some of the things that I've been working on this semester, in addition to a new Title IX policy in accordance with the new Title IX regulations and getting information out about that. Yeah, so it's a lot. So I'll stop there and folks can ask questions if they have them.
Thank you, Kenna. I hope you guys all remember doing the B4B in the summer. I'm going to say that I'm very proud we got ahead of that. We still have all of that information that you guys put into the B4B and kind of that self-evaluation. So this is also kind of on that level. Hopefully you guys remember that from this summer. I also have one question. Sorry. I just was gonna ask, what should students who utilize that bias reporting system, like what can they expect as far as like feedback? Like how can that be? I understand like voicing the concern is a lot of times very satisfying for students when they have a bias issue and they run into something like that. But like, what can they exactly expect out of those kind of concerns?
Yeah, so what that process will look like is once a report is submitted, students would have an opportunity to speak with a member from our team. And then that team member takes that information and consultation with myself and possibly other team members to determine a course of action. And we have identified a number of ways that we can respond to bias incidents. And that takes a number of different forms, from educational conversations all the way to public statements or gatherings. Our main goal is really to educate our community, both those individuals who report and those who are named in reports. And so that's always going to be our first conversation is this an opportunity for us to educate, and how do we do that? Providing workshops or trainings for individuals are also other options that might come out of that. And we are looking at how do we then report back to our community on what types of reports had been made in the previous year. So a more transparent process for us, but also a process that has some clear expectations laid out for our community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kenna, why does the work of belonging in Title IX matter to you?
Thank you, Dean, right? Nobody ever asked me that question, why it matters to me. I recognize that the work that we do at this institution not only affects those who are students or who are faculty or staff at Albion, but has the potential to affect the world, right? So once we leave here and we go home, it affects those in our close communities. Once we start new jobs, it affects those that we work with. And so I think it is small private liberal arts colleges who have this foundation in serendipitous learning and deep conversation that has the ability to change the world. And so it's important to me in creating a world where my children can thrive. And so I get up every day excited to be a part of the work. and I'm just going to say this. I've done a number of calls with faculty, and I was a student at Albion College, for those of you who don't know. So I'm very comfortable sitting in silence and waiting.
I have something. So I don't have an actual question, Kenna, but I just wanted to say that obviously I absolutely love you and adore you and think that you are incredible. And I just think that the work you're doing on campus is so meaningful. And I've always loved your passion for the work. And I just think that that should never go unnoticed because you really are passionate about what you do and you inspire me to be a better person.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Last call for any questions for Kenna. Something burning that you've had to ask. Oh, Jim?
I wouldn't call it burning, but first of all, hi, Kenna. It's been a while since our carpool last year, but I guess I really wanted to ask. I looked over Dr. Johnson's article from a few weeks ago about including students on what was it? And including students in college governance. And I guess since that was something we were asked to look over ahead of time, I wanted to ask, what is your role specifically when it comes to helping make sure that students have a say in how this place is run?
Yeah, so
I realize that's a bit vaguely worded, but
no. I think it's a twofold thing where we are right now. Where we are in this moment is trying to pull together a small team of folks to help us really understand what the governance structure is at Albion, and to create some opportunities to help educate our campus on what that looks like. I think our faculty have a solid grasp on what shared governance looks like for them, but I don't know necessarily that our student body understands what it looks like from that perspective. And so our goal is to create some type of platform that would explain that and make that clear. And then develop the ways in which we can engage students more fully in that governance process, what that looks like for them to serve on committees, but also to think through what the expectations are for students on those committees and for the faculty or staff who are chairing those committees. Because what I've heard is that there are some committees that students are a part of where they feel like they have voice and feel like they have agency, but that is not always the case. And so we want to make sure that we are educating both our students on how that process works and our faculty and staff on how that process works for students so that it is mutually beneficial. Does that help?
It does. One of my concerns has always been that students and trustee members don't interact nearly as often as they should. And I'm grateful that, there's another avenue and that's, part of your job. So I'm glad to hear that as a senior, I guess.
I know all the things that you work so hard for, and then they happen like when you're leaving or right after you're gone. But we appreciate the work that you put in to drive us to that point.
Any other questions for Kenna?
I am going to put Kenna's email in the minutes. So if anyone thinks of anything or they have any questions or concerns and they want to reach out, you'll have that contact info. So that will be there.
Thank you all so much for having me. I'm going to go eat some ice cream and then go to bed. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's great. So one of the notes that I had from a meeting that Zahra and I had with Kenna was in big bold letters, Kenna's got our back. She said, you guys, I love Student Senate. I've always got your back on anything. And it's just so good to know, I have to echo what Tassi said. She's very passionate. And just letting you guys know that she has our back. I have it written down right here. So yeah, just keep that in mind. All right. So for new business, I think now would be a good time to do some task force updates. I've talked to most of you and just kind of going to go through and see where you're at with some of these projects that we took on. And that would be starting with the student leadership series. So either Tassie or Chris, if you'd like to share like where we're at with that this week, and what that'll look like.
Hold on one sec. I'm bringing it up now. Okay, so the leadership series, it started last Thursday, and it is going to be every single Thursday through the end of the semester. And they're just different topics type thing. So the one that is this coming week, this Thursday, March 4th at 7 p.m. is called All About Me. One reason why not mental health and well-being. And it's hosted by Campus Life and Student Senate, so we're co-host of it. And it is just introducing solutions to like a lot of the tough problems that we face today as college students, and it's more surrounded about mental health. We have brought up mental health as an issue, especially within the module system, and so this workshop is just kind of to go over how to work through some of those mental health things when college life gets tough. So everything in the series is going to be different, so that's a cool part of these series. Like we have ones that are like more focused towards organizations, and then there's the student empowerment ones that are going to be more focused on mental health. So I just think that it is a student senate sponsored event. So if you have nothing going on Thursday at 7 p.m., we should probably be there. I also know that that is the Martin Luther King co-eviction, so that might be a conflict, but we just kind of set these so it's going to be a series. So if you're not going to the Martin Luther King because you're not a 40 or you're not interested in it, then you should probably be at this because they're going to talk about some good stuff.
Yeah, super important, especially with these like type of co-sponsored events. First of all, we paid for it. Second of all, it's neat stuff. It's really cool. So yeah, like Tassie said, come, and I think be thinking about how you can promote that and support your fellow senators as best as possible. So I think I sent out one last week that was like, hey, could you guys post this for the leadership series? Senate's going to post it, but also it'd be really nice if you guys could too. So if we get an infographic for that, I would say like try your best to get that up. Maybe Tassie said, but yeah, if we get one.
We have one, OP. Okay. We have an infographic.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. If you want to send that out, guys, that'd be awesome to promote. And keeping that kind of attitude towards all of our events is extremely important. And how to support your fellow senators. So thank you, Tassie. Okay, and then could I just get an update from either Kara or Juan about the mental wellness event, where you're at with that?
Hey, Olivia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Shannon had his hand up.
Oh, sorry, I don't have him on my screen. Go ahead, Shannon.
Oh yeah, I took it down when we were moving on. Sorry. Yeah, I could just vouch for that whole event though. I went to the one last week and it was just really entertaining, really informative. They were doing one on leadership. It was just really helpful. But yeah, I can definitely recommend going to those. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Did anybody else get to go to that here? Yeah, that's really neat, Shannon. Thank you for sharing. I wanted to go. I was unable to this week, but I'm definitely going to try to make it on Thursday. So hopefully I see you guys there. And then, so can I just hear from Kara or Juan about the mental wellness event and like where you're at with that, if the ball's moving or not? Yeah.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit on it. So mental health first aid, which is like a training that they go to like different schools and universities, was overbooked in March and April, with May being Mental Health Awareness Month. But Juan reached out to a trainer, like a mental health trainer through MHFA, and we are now just currently waiting to hear back from her to set up like a date and organize all the details about this event.
Perfect. Yeah, looking forward to hearing more about that. Hopefully we can fit that in. I know things are crazy right now, and there are a lot of other events going on, but if we hear good feedback from the person that one reach out to, then I think we could get the ball rolling on that. So that's exciting. Cheryl Cross has access to a mental health trainer. Yeah, if you wanted to reach out to Cheryl about that.
Olivia, she was the individual that was invited to campus last year to do training for faculty and staff. I believe she did some training for students as well too.
Okay. Yeah, if your task force could make a note of that, and then there's her email, I think that'd be good. Especially if plans fall through with the other one. But also if we have a recommendation of someone that's good, I think that'd be important too. All right, thanks, Juan. Okay, and then I am gonna skip over the Putnam Award stuff right now. I have a couple details to sort out on that. If anyone has like an update on that stuff, please speak now.
Yeah, I am working on creating the draft for that. I have it on my laptop, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have all the details on me about like when that's due, but if you remember, I'm not sure the date on that.
I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's relatively soon.
Yeah. Okay, so I think there was 3 of you who put down Grossman as your vote for the Putnam Award. And he was the second. To those of you who don't know, he was the runner-up to Patrick. We're not able to nominate Patrick. We figured out that Patrick is technically an administrator. Please tell me if I'm wrong, Patrick. Okay. So he's sitting there smug. So we had several votes for Patrick, but that is not going to be like an acceptable nomination. So Student Senate, we went to, yeah, he does teach classes. We went to the next highest votes, which was Grossman. So just to fill you guys in if you're unaware of why we're writing that for Grossman, but that would mean we need to still write the letter as to why we nominated him. So thank you, Skylar, for getting that together. I would say team up with the other 2. I can tell you who they are, just right not off the top of my head, people that voted for him. And there's also people feeling strongly in the chat, so please reach out to Skylar about Grossman, especially Juan. I see you. So yeah, so that's good on that. And then can we hear an update from the Committee for Sustainability?
Is that me? Is that my time to go?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So hello, Student Senate. I'm not gonna say like super like bright things, so don't think I'm gonna say anything like super like confident. But I have a little spiel, so if you see me looking at my like the other side of my computer, you know why. So I just wanted to bring light to some thoughts and feelings that have come up for me this past weekend. I'm very disappointed and frankly embarrassed to call myself a senator at this moment. If you guys didn't know, this prior weekend, this Saturday, Student Senate and Environmental Club had a co-sponsored event. This event was actually voted on by Student Senate to take part in. This was an event that all of you accepted and said it was a good idea to try to upcycle the homecoming shirts as much as possible. And just in case you guys are wondering, 2 senators showed up. So altogether, including me, who's president of Environmental Club, 3 senators showed up. There were actually as many old student senators that showed up as current student senators. I was very saddened Saturday by the lack of involvement student senators had in this co-sponsored event. I tried to get the word out as well as possible and encourage you all to attend. I really had high hopes for this event. I had high hopes that a lot of student senators would come and they would help support my club, Student Senate, and get the word out to their friends to come. Being a senator, I feel comfortable talking to you guys all about this today because I know each and every single one of you. And if I don't know you personally, like you know me, we see each other on this call every single week. And I think a thing to like bring light to this is what if this was an event where the president of the other club was not on Senate? How do you think this situation would make them feel? Because I personally feel disrespected, not just personally, but I feel like Environmental Club, a club that, if you know me, I've put my entire heart into, blood, sweat, and tears. And I feel like it's been insulted, and it was taken as a joke of an organization with this situation that has happened with no one showing up. If a president of another organization had this situation happen to them, do you think that they would think highly of Senate and speak highly of Senate to others? I'll answer this question for you. No, absolutely not. I literally had to sit down with my VP of Environmental Club and talk about this situation because, why no student senators show up except for 2. On Senate, we always talk about how we want to lift up students and organizations and let them know that they're heard by Senate and supported by Senate. In this situation, Environmental Club does not feel supported by Senate. Just because I'm a senator doesn't mean that it's okay that this happened to me. This situation should really help bring light to why clubs and organizations don't feel comfortable to the Senate or trying to, sorry, I just scrolled. Why clubs and organizations don't feel comfortable coming to Senate or trying to build a relationship with Student Senate. But now, if I don't know, I personally don't know if there will be any future between Environmental Club and Student Senate because of this, especially once I'm gone. My VP and the people who are my successors are not on Student Senate. It saddens me to say this because I do know the effort that people put into Senate, but the disrespect that I felt at 2 p.m. on Saturday is unbelievable, and it has made me really reflect on the Senate's actions with what people say and how people act. And it really has made me question if I should continue to be associated with this organization or not. I don't want this to be taken as a lecture. Obviously not. I do understand people have sports and things like that, but also it was 12 to 2 on a Saturday, and the whole point of picking that time was because it's usually a pretty open time. I pray that such a situation like this doesn't happen to another organization that tries to plan an event with Senate, because as we know, sometimes Student Senate doesn't get taken with real respect on this campus, and not to be like a jerk or anything, but if this were to happen and I wasn't on Student Senate, I would not speak highly of this organization that I am proud to be a part of. But now I'm kind of not proud of it at all. So that's my piece. I don't know if anybody has any comments. I'm not looking for an I'm sorry or anything. It doesn't matter to me at this moment because it is what it is. But I just want to bring light to that and speak my truth, because I was unbelievably sad Saturday because of this.
Thank you for sharing, Alex. I'm sure we all appreciate that. I know we've all had moments where we've been disappointed in participation in various things. So I would like to encourage people to, in the future, when we have various events and activities, especially when they are co-sponsorships, that we do try to go. Jim and I both went and made some cool ass bags. If you want to find out how to make those, I'm sure we still have t-shirts. We can help you make a bag. But definitely keep your eyes open in the future, and let's try to do a little better. And thank you, Alex, for feeling comfortable enough to share your thoughts and feelings with us. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Alex. Just to echo what Peach said, this is definitely a big deal. I definitely think that if you're not able to show your support in person, which a lot of you should, including myself, but think about ways that you can also support other student organizations. There's a lot of platforms. You have your social media platforms, you have word of mouth. I know you all have your circles. And I know I didn't do a good enough job about promoting this co-sponsored event, but even on events that aren't co-sponsored, you guys are student leaders we're all student leaders. So if it's really not a reality for you to make it in person, think about trying to support in other ways too. I think that's something to consider on top of what Alex said. But thank you, Alex. Yeah, thank you for being transparent about that. I know that takes a lot to address a screen of 24 people. So I appreciate that. All right. Okay, and then I'd like to open up just the open discussion. There's a couple points already on the agenda. I would ask that if you do have open discussion points, that you wait till after, there's like 3 on the agenda right now, that you wait till after those 3 and then open a point of open discussion after that. So I would just like to start off by saying the reason why I'm officiating this meeting and I called to order and everything like that is because President Zahra has formally stepped down from her position as president due to personal reasons. And so I just wanted to make everybody aware that that's a reality. Within the Constitution, it allows for resigning of any member written formally to Peach, which is a chief of staff. And so we have received that from Zahra. And I just had a few notes about that. I know there's a lot of probably questions like going through your mind and things like that. I just have a few notes and I wanted to kind of like put you all where I currently am in a headspace during open discussion today. And I just want to just start it off with that. And just thinking about like, obviously there are going to be some next steps for us as a Senate in a shift of leadership here. So just to kind of fill some of you who may not be as familiar with the Constitution in, by the way, it's on our website, accessible to every student on campus. Pretty much everybody who can access our website can see our Constitution and how we operate as a representative body. So just a couple of things. So per the Constitution of the Student Senate, there is a statement in Article 4, Section 8, stating that the Vice President shall perform the duties of a president during his or her absence or inability to convene at a meeting in that sort of setting, and then perform the duties assigned to the president. So that's what I would encourage you to go take a look at that. It's under Article 4, Section 8. So I bet Tassi's camera's off because she's going to check the Constitution right now. But yeah, so that's kind of, if you take kind of that concept and also kind of compared it to the Section 5, Article 3, it's just talking about the president's ability within an absence to like appoint a person to fill in the vacancy along with the affirmative majority of the Senate. So I'm sorry, this is a lot of like big words. I'm kind of confusing myself, but I just like let you guys know, if you read through the Senate or the Senate Constitution, there's not a whole lot. There's actually nothing at all stating how the Senate should operate when a president signs a like formal resignation. And that just makes it kind of tricky. There's a lot for other types of chairpersons resigning and regular general senators or representatives resigning. And a lot of that just goes back up to the president to appoint new people into those positions. But unfortunately, there's just not a whole lot there to work with as far as a president resigning, stepping down from her position. So I just wanted to share kind of those two articles with you. So that's Section 5, Article 3, and then Section 8, Article 4. I think I said that backwards, but take a look at that. I just wanted to set that on the table for open, not necessarily like open discussion, but kind of my points about it. I don't think any decisions are going to be made, but it sounds like right now I will step in and do a lot of the day-to-day duties that Zahra would typically be doing, aka running the Senate meeting, going to, we have advising meetings every week and just kind of filling in there. And then from there, hopefully by next Monday, we can figure out how me filling into that role can kind of go along, right along with the Constitution and hopefully appoint and approve a new president. I will keep like Zahra's affairs like off the table. That's not something that we're talking about tonight. But if there's any questions constitutionally, I would suggest like maybe texting me or checking yourself. If you have kind of questions about what I just said, I don't know if it's good to like open it up here for questions, but I'm willing to like take any right now. I'd also
and then I also have a message. Yeah. Go ahead, Olivia.
No, go ahead, Peach.
Do we want to start with Samantha's question, or do you want me to read the message from Zahra first?
I think if you could read the message from Zahra in case it clears up any questions that anyone has.
Yep. So she asked us to read this out loud. It's a paragraph, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it from her. So, I've truly enjoyed leading with the passionate and dedicated team we've been this year. Senate is an amazing organization poised to be a uniting force to inspire and uplift students. I'm happy to see that together we've taken big steps towards just that by clarifying resources for students and providing avenues for increased connection with peers and others across campus. It's all been possible through the individual dedication that each of you has put in, and I know that the current student body and future Brits will appreciate you and the impact of this year's pivotal work. I look forward to hearing about the continued successes of Student Senate. So I feel like she knows that she's leaving us in very capable hands. So hopefully that helps some people feel a little better. But go ahead and let's start with Tassie and then Samantha. I saw Jim too.
Okay,
I saw Jim at one point.
I know. Okay, I had a question of clarification. So, as per the Constitution, then it's not just like you don't move into president and like it's not just a move upward. We actually elect somebody else to fill that position from within the Senate.
Yeah. So, what the first part of what you said is absolutely correct. There's no real ushering system in. So, as vice president, I just don't get ushered into the position. What I do, however, take over some of the responsibilities sort of interim, and as doing our best interpreting the Constitution where it fails to acknowledge like this sort of situation may mean that within like the president's duties is to appoint vacancies, to appoint people into vacancies. So that duty would fall to me. That doesn't mean I have to appoint myself or I have to appoint a certain person. But it does mean I appoint them, and then we would have to have a majority affirmative vote on them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And then Samantha.
Yeah, my question is this going to be done like how we normally do it, where people fill out applications for the position, and then as an exec, you guys discuss who would be best for the position? Oh, sorry. You can answer that first. Slash, if whoever that is like coming from another exec position, I don't know. It's kind of hard because then I just wouldn't want us to have like vacant positions for president this week and then somebody else get it and then have a vacant position the next week. So I feel like that's kind of hard.
Yeah, that's a great question. I would actually extend a phone a friend to Patrick on this one. I was going to ask you, Patrick, if the appointment, kind of what the appointment process that I would be like taking part in would look like, as far as Sam's question, if you can help.
So you've said several things that are really important so far, Olivia, and I want to highlight those. First came up when you responded to Tassie, that clearly the Constitution does not provide for a formal succession wherein the vice president moves into the role of president, right? But as Olivia correctly said, she takes on those responsibilities. And one of those responsibilities is to fill vacancies. So I would recommend that you have a conversation and throw ideas out there, not necessarily in terms of who, but perhaps how, tonight. And at some point, maybe in a week, maybe in 2 weeks, it will fall to Olivia to appoint, and it may simply be for one position, or it may be for multiple positions. And you don't have to have, as Samantha talked about, you don't have to have kind of the rotation where you do one week and one the next. You can create something that will fill whatever vacancies might exist, whether it's one or multiple, as a result of people moving into different spots. But give that some thought, talk amongst yourselves, think about who the right person is. And then the last part that I'll highlight there is Olivia mentioned, it's not her role to simply appoint and that's it. She makes that appointment, but it requires an affirmative vote of a majority of the present members for that position.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. He kind of organized all my scattered thoughts. So thank you, Patrick. I definitely think I'll get to Tassi's question in a second, but I definitely think that maybe we sit down once before Monday's meeting or at Monday's meeting next Monday and kind of discuss that. I would like to extend that beyond just like the exec board. I think that'd be very important. Make sure we have everybody's voice in there. We could talk about like game plans. Like you said, it would be like a little bit of a shift in some ways. So like which way would work, sort of the how, like Patrick was talking about. And if anybody has like a burning desire to talk about it on a certain day, or we definitely need to get this done by Monday, I don't feel strongly that it's something we need to like get done right, like figure out tonight. And I talked to our advisors about that too. But yeah, I'm open to Tassi's question now. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a thing, but also in the Constitution it says that the president and vice president must be elected by popular vote of the student body. So I understand that it's a vacancy, but it's not a vacancy like it is for a different position. So it's not like a chief of staff or Article 4, Section 2, or like chair of engagements or something like that, because those are vacancies within an executive board. It's a vacancy in an actual like elected position. So I don't know if that goes with this as well, or if that's just during like our actual elections. But that's also within the Constitution.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting the distinction of how those two positions are elected differently than the executive board members and senators. But yeah, I'd love to hear from Patrick on this one.
One of the broader, Tassi brings up another good point. One of the broader issues when we get through all of this, we really should take a look as a group at the language and clarify this so that we don't find ourselves in this situation in the future. But we are where we are for right now, and we'll address that. It is possible that this wouldn't be the first time that a document like this has areas that seem to be in conflict, and so we're going to have to take a good look at that and kind of create a pathway forward. And it may not be crystal clear, but my initial reading is that in performing her duties, taking over, doing the duties of the president without being the president, that Olivia would be able to make that appointment to all those positions, including president and vice president. But again, as I said to Connie and to Dean Wright earlier today, there's some gray areas here, and it may not be crystal clear.
Yeah, Tassi.
I have one other thing, OP. So just kind of going with that part of the Constitution then, you were technically elected on that ticket for the president and vice president. So personally, to stick with the Constitution, unless we plan on doing a full student body vote, I think that you would need to move up to the president position. Otherwise, I feel like we have to go by the Constitution and re-elect the new ticket at that point. I feel like if you're president, it would make more sense for you to appoint a vice president that we voted on as a Senate, because that just makes sense. It makes sense that you would move up in the position because you were voted on the same ticket as Zachary was. Does that make sense to everybody else? I just want to make sure we're on the same page here, because then we don't have to do what if situations. We have you filling the president spot, which you have already been going to the same meetings as Zachary. You and Zachary have worked hand in hand on everything. And if that's something that you want to do, I think that in like direct line, it would be you moving up into that position.
Jim's hand is, oh, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, go Jim. I can't see everybody on my screen. So
Jim's hand's been up for a while, so let's do that. And then I also see Skylar's.
My hand's actually been up and down. I keep on selecting it by accident. I'm sorry about that. So the last sentence of the Constitution, Article 10, basically says, final interpretation of the Senate Constitution shall be the sole responsibility of the Albion College Student Senate. So in other words, whatever we decide is what's going to go, and as long as, and frankly, I don't think there are a lot of members that I don't think there are a lot of people, there are a lot of students who will care very much about our decision. Logistically speaking, elections were going to be in a month anyway, and I think holding one right now would cause people to not care about one or the other. That being said, Olivia, you signed up to be vice president. You did not sign up to be president. So I don't think it's a decision that needs to be made now, but the option is open for you to be president. And between you already being elected and between Article 10, I don't think that there's a lot of logistical issues with you stepping in.
Was there
That
another
being
hand?
It's as somebody who had the job, it's tough. So don't decide right now.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, Skylar, if you had something.
No, yeah, it's all good. I was just gonna say, I feel like we should just come up with a plan tonight, quickly, so that we can all kind of leave this meeting knowing what we're going to be doing for next meeting. And I think I agree with what Tassi said, and I think that Olivia, as long as you're comfortable with it, at next meeting we should vote as a Senate to affirm you to that position. But personally, I think the VP should be elected by the student body, because if we get into another situation where, let's say, God forbid, Olivia has to step down, well, then it's like, well, nobody elected that person. Like, the student body didn't elect that VP, like Senate did, or Senate appointed that VP. So, as I know that we're kind of only got a couple days, or like a month or whatever, till the next elections, but I think for formality purposes, that it should happen that way. And then once we have the VP elected through the student body, we can do like that. We could do it. We could take nominations or appointments today, and then do this whole week working on that. And then we would do next week, we would affirm you, Olivia, the next VP, and then we could take nominations / send out applications for exec positions if it needs to be filled. So that's kind of my stance on that.
That is like the most clear way that I see it right now. Besides the fact that I don't know if it would be like crossing or violating the Constitution because it's the vacancy thing. So like president appointing the vacancies. So I guess that's kind of what it's boiling down to. But it makes sense that the vice president would be elected by student vote. I saw Matt and I saw someone else's hand.
Tassi's
hand's also up.
Okay, so can Matt go first if you still have a question, Matt?
Yeah, so I don't really know like the logistics of all this, but is there any way we could move up the election, even though it's only a month away? Wouldn't it be kind of no? bunch of no's? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think because of the term lengths, but I could be, okay, I see some nods. I think that's the only thing that you'd run into that. Although that seems like a very like effective way. I wish we could. That's a great question. Yeah, the term lengths are set, and that's like probably the most clear thing in the Constitution. Unfortunately, at this point, usually in other circumstances, that's great. But yeah, so yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, so Tassie.
So I also want to point out that the president and vice president have to already have served on student senate. So it's not like we can elect somebody from outside the student senate for the vice president position. It has to come from within. So just for any, like, that's another thing that we've run into in the past. You've also had to sit on student senate for a year. So any new senators would also not be eligible for this. So just so I've been to the Constitution a time or two, just so everybody knows, like, there are some stipulations for who can run for vice president. It's not just like the student body can be like, hey, we want this person that's never been a senator. So it will end up being somebody on the Senate that fills the position, but the student body could always vote on that individual.
To respond to Dean Wright's question, I think this was a good discussion already. I think it was great, Jim's point he brought up about our interpretation of the Constitution. I know we all want to do our best on that, and I think we're all going to do our best on that. We're just, that's how we just, even if no student's going to pay attention to how closely we align ourselves with that, it's the matter of the principle of staying consistent to that. And I would just like to say that I would like some time to think about it, but I think I would be open to stepping up into the position of president. Definitely want to serve you guys as best as possible. So I think with that being said, I believe the dialogue should still be open about how the vice president is appointed / elected. I would be open to meeting again before next Monday's meeting when we all reconvene again. But if we can all collaborate on this to like agree to do that, we can have another discussion, maybe not a voting. I don't think it can be a voting because I didn't give you guys enough notice if we meet this week. Yeah. So maybe just another discussion. Think about it and read the Constitution. I'm going to do that. But like I said, I'm willing to step up into that president position. So yeah, I think if we could just kind of come together as a Senate, if that's okay, if we can't all come together before Monday, that's just going to be how it is. I have nothing else to say on that necessarily. If there's Patrick, if you need to say anything else, or if anybody else has a question. Okay.
Olivia, yeah, I just want to support, I think what I hear you saying, and that's let's read through the Constitution. Let's everybody have a chance to weigh in and be part of this. If there's a way to have a non-voting meeting beforehand that everyone is welcome to come to, but some may not be able to, or but nonetheless to put together a plan, and then that plan can be put into place on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, so
I think it's better to do it right than do it fast.
I agree. And in the meantime, I know that myself as well as Peach have already just started filling in those little things that Zahra did so effortlessly. So we will be hard working at that until we figure something out. Just to give you all peace of mind, we're in good hands, and we're going to try our best to be the superhero that Zahra really is. So yeah. Okay, so I think there was, One thing I did read while reading through the Constitution was that any like outside student that's nominated for anything within our Senate, it's got to be on the table for at least one meeting before we present that like nomination. I think it'd really be good if you read into that. I think it might be in the bylaws, not the Constitution. Be really good if you read over that, but I would like to just start the conversation about our next student leader of the week. If there's nominations now.
So I was looking at the student leader of the week form, and 3 people submitted for Lexi De La Cruz. So unless somebody has like a strong negative of that. Go ahead, Alex. I saw your hand, and then Tassi.
I don't have a strong negative against it, so I guess I can like table mine until the next time.
If you want, you could put it on the form too. I can put the link in the chat for everybody.
Okay, that would be awesome. Oh my god. Sorry.
And then if Tassi, you had something.
What's it called? Yes. So do we just go by the form, or can we also nominate people on the Senate floor? And can I ask why she was nominated? Do they give a reason as to why she was nominated for Student Leader of the Week?
Because she is the president of Delta Sigma Pi and Investment Club, and it says she works tirelessly to run both organizations on campus. She's also an FYE mentor, and she changed my college experience without even knowing it. She was always ready to help, and even though our FYE is over, she is still an inspiration, and I am so lucky to have her as a mentor in and outside of the FYE program. She also has an internship with an institutional advancement. So yeah.
I don't know if this seems like it would be fair or equitable, but maybe we consider like whatever Skylar brings up from the form as a nomination. And then if there are other nominations, also including those, and then sort of voting on that. I don't think that'd be like violating anything, but I also don't. Okay. So we could do that. I think taking into account that like Skylar had the form and there was 3 people, so just like keep that in mind when voting, but also like I'd like to hear from like if Alex wants to say hers and Tassi.
I can say mine. So I think Dom McDonald, he's a SIGNU, he's on IFC. He literally rearranged recruitment and its structure for the fraternities. He did a really good job. He's a very close friend of mine, and I watched him stress out about it a lot, but from my understanding, it came together really well. Tassi worked closely with him to help like do all of this, and I think since we had Morgan Goodnow, she's Panhell like recruitment thingy, whatever it's called, I think we should also like respect him too and how well fraternity recruitment went.
Did you have a nomination, Tassi, or did you have a question? Okay.
Jonah's hand is up. Or
Go
was
ahead, Jonah.
Yeah, I was just gonna I guess I don't know if second what Skylar was saying about her name is slipping my mind, I apologize. But anyways, I can attest to her dedication, hard work within Delta Sigma Pi and Investments Club. She's always simply a text away or a phone call away if anyone needs anything. She's very involved in organizations. She goes above and beyond her duties as a president of both organizations, while also maintaining, I'm sure, full course load and doing well at that. So I just wanted to kind of reaffirm what Skylar mentioned and provide my support and I suppose my vote for that.
Well, I can give like a quick Google form between Lexi and Dom. But also we can just decide as a Senate. I don't know what would be easier.
I think we should just do Dom because it would be more relevant since recruitment was this past weekend, and then we can just do Lexi next weekend or next week.
Okay. Hopefully you all realize that. Sorry. hopefully you all realize that Frank is our leader this week. So today's Monday, so he'll be for the rest of the week. That means Dom will be for the next week. Hopefully everybody's on the same page. And then obviously we had 3 votes for Lexi, so that's great. And we can do that. Pete, should you have something?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up Jason Sawyer again because he did do the conference with K College for Campus Life, the conference that was on the last day of Black History Month. And he talked about toxic masculinity, and I got to go, and it was really impactful. I thought he did a really nice job. So that was someone that I was going to put in. But if we're scheduling people for 3 weeks out, like, whoa. So, because that's kind of what it's sounding like now.
Yeah, I think we could definitely revisit the method on how we are doing this, because I know we kind of threw in the form. Yeah, so we threw in the form there, so it's kind of like how important are we taking like the student outstanding Brit form. But so if we have,
I'm just, yeah, like, I guess I kind of agree. Like, I don't know. Personally, I feel like we have the form. We've been doing it all year since the form. The only reason why we were doing it in meeting was because nobody was filling out the form. Now we have the form filled out. I mean, if you guys want to nominate these people, that's great, but please fill out the form, and then we'll just go from there.
That works for me. I can fill out the form for sure.
I already did.
I think that makes sense, Skylar.
Okay. Cool, guys. So, I mean, we can just, like, yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. We can do a vote right now, and Olivia, if you want to just do, like, we can affirm Lexi as this week's student leader, and then we can do, like, oppositions in the chat or whatever.
I'm not sure that I can make the motion, but it would be like a motion.
So motion to affirm Lexi De La Cruz for this week's student leader of the week, or next week's student leader of the week.
Okay, any opposition in the chat, please? Give it a second. Okay. All right, so it looks like motion passes here. Thank you, guys. That was my last point of open discussion. I know it's getting late, so if there's any more open discussion, please speak now.
I think we were supposed to do budgets before. Can we just do those right now?
Oh, yes.
Cool. And then Sheridan, let me know if I'm missing any because my notes didn't save, but I think I got all of them. So just let me know if I might be missing one. We'll find out.
Okay. There weren't many.
All right, everyone. First off, we have KD for 500. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, all of these have been approved by the Appropriations Committee. And as always, if you have any questions, just let me know. So Kappa Delta KD for 500. Divine, that's like the dance group, for 1,500. Sig Nu for 1,105. And then SVB for 420. Any questions?
What's Sig Nu? You said 1,000 something?
1,105.
Are you able to detail any of what that would include?
Yes, if you'd like to know.
Sure.
All right, let me pull it up.
Chris, I also had a question in the chat.
Sure, I will look at that as soon as I'm back on the screen. All right, so Signu is using their 500 clothing and apparel limit to go towards shirts. Obviously, what they spent on shirts is far over that, but they are using that 500 to contribute to the amount they used. They're also buying cornhole bags under equipment, and then they are doing a catered individual dinner for brothers from Schuler's, and that maxes out their non-cultural food limit. Any follow-up on that?
Nope.
Cool. Yes, Tassi. Everyone included their dates. Cool. Any other questions? All right, then I'd like to make a motion to vote on this week's budgets.
Seconded.
I second.
All right, any opposition? Then I will take them as passed. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Also, sorry I didn't include that. I knew that was my job to put in there. Just kidding. You can't update the minutes, but hopefully we can leave that in there for future weeks and just assume. So, all right. Any more points for open discussion? Samantha?
Yes, I have two things. The first thing is I just wanted to clarify about the election and offer perhaps a suggestion before our next meeting. Would it be possible for us to put together a list of who is eligible for that position based on the constitutional eligibility so people know who is eligible? And then I think that it would be good if we sent out a poll for everybody eligible who wants to run to the whole student body as like a special election, how we just did. So that way we're following the Constitution of people voting on them. Unless I misunderstood that that's how we have to do it, which could very well be the case.
I think, first of all, I love the idea about the list. That would make things so much easier. I think we should do that in preparation for our next like reconvening. But I think like what's in question right now is exactly what you said. So I'm not sure that we're like fully sold on it as interpreters of the Constitution of Student Senate right now as it stands. So that's kind of what the meeting was for, whether we hold that sort of election. If I'm misunderstanding that, please someone catch me, but that's kind of what we were questioning at this point. Okay. Yeah, great idea, Sam.
Okay, then that completely answers my question because we can discuss that at the next meeting, decide what to do. My other point is about the new COVID testing and how we've switched to only symptomatic testing unless we're athletes. Nothing against athletes, but I think it's more against the college that they're only testing athletes because they're required by their sport. So I think that athletes should be tested, but I think that everybody should be tested. Particularly, and I'll talk to whoever I need to if somebody can direct me. The sororities have also gotten a lot more strict like guidelines as well. So I just don't think that the college's policy is like lining up. I don't think sororities should be punished even further than they already were being punished, and then testing for the college be limited. So basically what I'm saying is I think restrictions are going up where testing is going down, and I think that punishes only the students and offers no rewards and limits safety. So if there's somebody I can be directed to air this grievance, thank you.
Yeah, real quick, Matt, I see your hand. Definitely, first of all, your two closest resources right now would probably be Tassi and I on the COVID accountability task force. Also, that's a question that I asked today to our two advisors, Senate advisors, because I'm right there with you. One of the things that was, I guess, encouraging that I heard was just that we, first of all, anybody is able to go get a test. If you feel unsafe, you can get community testing. I understand it's not the answer that we want, but that was kind of like the first offering up. But yeah, so definitely something. We meet on Thursdays. So if you have a couple like notes, a post-it note, send it our way. We can do that. But also, I'm not sure how available Matt Aaron's inbox is, but if it's a concern, I think the proper channel might be the task force. But if need be, that's like a Matt Aaron thing in the committee. So I'm right there with you, Samantha. I have a lot of notes on it myself. So I think that would be the best way to go about it for now. I know that the numbers are really low. And I think that's a reason why I talked to Connie about this, but like that is also a reason why there's less testing of even among the people who are being tested a lot, which aka the athletes right now, seemingly a lot. I saw Connie's face pop up. If she wants to comment on this, she can, but I think we're at a really low number right now, which I think might be a reason or excuse as to why there's no regular testing or scheduled testing. Okay, so I saw a hand. Oh, Matt.
Yeah, so from my understand, since COVID numbers have been down, from what I understand, and we've moved to wastewater testing only. And if any negative or any positive comes back within that, then we test that whole building where it's located. So I think that's where we're moving to right now, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're right. That's definitely what we're moving to. It's also the case by case basis. You mentioned the sorority thing. As those different kind of like specific cases pop up, like let's say it's on the east wing of Wesley, like that's those are the people that will be tested, which also makes people uneasy, and I completely understand that. But that's like kind of the process right now. So we'll bring those concerns up for sure. If you want to formally write something out, we can always take it. And yeah, I'm right there with you, Samantha. So I think a lot of us are.
Olivia, I would just add that this is an opportunity to bring the Student Senate's feedback to the Student Accountability Committee to have that dialogue about restrictions, protocols, and testing based on the feedback that you and Tasi have received as representatives of that COVID Student Accountability Committee. That is chaired by Matt Aaron.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize I was unmuted while I was drinking my water bottle. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so definitely, oh, I lost my train of thought. That's something we can bring up, but also that communication was just out today. So I think there will be a lot of questions that will come up already on that task force. You can anticipate that. Also, if there's something specific that you want us to add, we will do that. We can bring those Senate concerns there, and we can take that information, bring it back to Senate, bring it back to students. So if Tasi had a hand, I don't put it down maybe.
I put my number in the chat. If anybody has concerns, I think OP and I are extremely vocal on that committee. So if anybody has any concerns, you can just shoot. I put my number in the chat. Feel free to shoot me a text. I have no issue ruffling a couple feathers with some questions. So just whatever you guys need.
Yes, we do.
Solutions, problems.
Yes. Okay. So Sam, do you still have a question, or is that your hand up? Okay.
No, sorry.
You're good. Okay. So are there any further points for open discussion tonight?
I do want to add that I have stepped up a little bit to help Olivia during this process, and I have volunteered to step into the role. I'm willing to take that on. So, but if there are other people who are interested, obviously they're more than welcome. We will totally discuss that. But I just wanted to let everyone know that we have started forming a game plan. And so that is in the works if that's the direction we want to go. But absolutely, no, it definitely does. But I want to put it out there that that was something that we were working on. And so that can be in discussions, and we'll get a Google form sent out as well about people who are interested.
Thanks, Skylar. Appreciate that. Yeah, completely agree. Thanks you for sharing, Peach. And I think one of the things Peach has just stepped out and been like, Olivia, I know that you have to assume these responsibilities right now in the interim. So I'm there for you, and I really appreciated that. So appreciate that support and that Senate love. We've gone really late, so can I ask for a motion?
Olivia, I just had one thing to add. As Senate members, this is an opportunity to support whatever leadership takes the role as president. I think it doesn't stop you all from your participation, your chairships, your individual leadership. It takes the success of the whole in order for Student Senate to be moving forward. And so this is an opportunity for all of you to lead in ways that you may not have led throughout this year, to keep the mission and the goals of Student Senate and the voices of students heard and moving forward, while also coming up with solutions and also supporting Olivia if she decides to be in that role, or anyone else who steps up to serve in any other capacity. This is the time to let your leadership shine.
Thank you. Can I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
I second the motion.
There you go, Sheridan. Guys, thank you so much. Meeting is adjourned at 10:39 p.m. I appreciate all of you staying on. This is a Senate thing. We got to work together as a Senate to figure it out. So thank you guys for your support. I know we've gone late. Get some sleep, drink some water, stay safe, and all of the above.
Goodbye, friends.
Tassie said goodbye, but she's still here.
Hello, Jim.
Yeah. No, I was going to send a text message about this, but I figured it'd be more appropriate to say now. If you have questions, I'm available. I assume Zahra is more than willing to answer questions too in whatever capacity that she can. But, you know, you all have resources, and yeah, that's all I got to say. So, yeah.
Thanks, Jim. I value that a lot. I pretty much feel like you're the man and you know what's going on, so I'll take it.
Oh, Olivia, do you want to stop recording too?
Oh. Yep.